Yes, I know it's blocked. Sorry about that. Let's see. I'm on chat right now. So, okay. Shh, be quiet, me. I don't need to hear your backsass. uh, so, hello. Let me see if this works. Hello. Ah, good, it works. Okay. Well, a while ago I wrote an article about pre-ordering games, and I just wanted to have people to share their opinion about pre-ordering and all that stuff because I don't really have a lot of stories, but about pre-ordering, but I have like one, and how I feel about it now versus then. I think that'd be a good place to start. So the first game I ever pre-ordered was Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, and that was a game I was excited for because I played Going Commando and I really liked that game. Mm, sorry, some water, and yes, including the space fight stuff. I like that too. It was really cool. Um, it took me a while to get used to the what do you call it? The strafe. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm ready for Up Your Arsenal, and I heard it was coming out soon from probably magazines because the internet was not as prevalent as it was, and I probably heard it from who knows, probably X Play. I don't know if they were get me hyped up for that or not, but I was like, okay, I need to pre-order this game because I need it in my hands like day one. So it was very interesting to have that sort of something to look forward to. At that time, I went through human services or whatever to get a job at Chuck E. Cheese as a I guess as a I don't know what you call it. It's not a server. It's more like you point and it's like, hey, look, there's a seat open, and you go tell people, and they're at that seat and they need help or something. I don't know what I did. I just did what they told me to do because I was do special services and all that stuff. You know, I got low key fired from that job, and so next to it, because it was in a strip mall, so next to it was a GameStop and a Dollar General and whatever, you know. And so I would go over there and I'd be like, "Hey, I want to pre-order this game," and they're like, "Yeah, sure, it's coming out." And I would go over there every day, like, "Is it out yet?" I said, "No, it's going to come out this date." I'm like, "Oh, okay." As long as I have it, I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, okay." So I'd go in there every day, you know, kind of talk stuff because, you know, back then there wasn't very much video game stuff, you know, video game talk for me to talk to people about it, you know. And so I got it. And here's the thing, though, like I really enjoyed that game. Up Your Arsenal was probably the arguably best, one of the best Ratchet and Clank games. I did like Deadlocked and the soft reboot, but really sequel. Uh, Weapons of Destruction. I thought was I don't know. I forget because it's been a long time. Um, but I always remember that as like as pre-ordering being a. It's not really a thing that I needed to do. It was just something that I was there. When I go ahead and pre-order it because I've never been into pre-ordering a game. It's always been like I'll wait for it, and then if it comes out and it looks good, I'll buy it. You know, there wasn't really reviews. And the only review I said was XPlay, which is why I got like into Sly Cooper and Ratchet and Clank in the first place. Because you know that was the thing. I never did get into Jack and Dexter. You know that was just not my game. Jack and Dexter 1, yes. Dexter 2 was so different. I'm like, eh. That doesn't look like my thing. And it probably would have been my thing, but I'm just not. Whatever. It's not my thing. So it doesn't look like my thing anyway. So, so I never had the idea that I must have a game in my hands on the day one, except for that one point, And it, so I guess my attitude toward that now is like I don't see the need for pre-orders. I've never heard of that you need it in your hands day one. I understand there's an incentive. For example, like you can get this really cool statue if you do that, or what if they decided to, give you digital stuff with it or physical stuff? Uh, I mean that's really cool too because it means like if you went day one, then obviously you're a fan. Like Street Fighter had that like Ryu Hadouken statue. It's really cool looking. It looks really nice. It's probably worth like I don't know, $50, and you get it with the game. But that's like I don't know, $100 for that or something. I don't know. They seem to be more expensive when they come in these like uh, collector's editions or something like that. You know, I can look up prices, I guess, but I'm gonna go ahead and get another message. Gaming stories. All right. That's probably not right, but whatever. I don't care. Like I know it's not pre-order. Yeah, whatever. Pre-order is probably one word, but I don't care. People understand. So let's see. I wrote another article about pre-ordering, and I said pretty much at the end it's up to you. But I can't really, since the site I write for is apolitical, which I love it for that. But there's some things I'm like, I want to say this, but I can't. Okay. There's a that pretty much I wanted to mention the people who there's two sides to the pre-order camp. There's people who say you have to support the developers, so you need to pre-order games. And I'm like, so I looked into that, and it seems like that they don't get, I don't know how much they get from that, or they get anything at all. In fact, the people that told you to pre-order from like GameStop or something like that, yeah, they see probably none of that money. I mean, because especially when you buy it used, because they push used. I should say the developer doesn't see the money if it's used. That's probably more correct. Yeah, that's definitely correct. If it's used, because if it's used, that means the GameStop uses that money, not the game developers. The GameStop used to do that a lot when they would say like, you could buy this used one for like $1 less, and it's like, man, I need to do GameStop stories one day. So, this, and then there's people on this side who would never pre-order. They're so stark against pre-ordering because they've been hurt in the past or heard about stories of other people getting hurt. And so I pretty much said in the article that it's in between, which I still think is technically correct, because really, if you get bamboozled by a game and you don't like it, or you force yourself to like it, that's on you. There is no excuses anymore. If you bought a bad game, that is your fault. You should have been paying attention. It's not hard to look up, what's going to happen with the game and what's truthfully what's happened with the game. Not buzzwords or misleading, like advertising. It's sort of like when they go through a car commercial. That car will go through a city and it says test driver, not actually like this, and like then the fine print on the side. Watch game trailers and say not actual gameplay or something like fixed gameplay. What they call it, like they make it look better than it actually is. Like of course they're trying to get all the best angles, so it's sort of like a food commercial, like for Taco Bell, and it's like this the best looking like taco you've ever seen, and you go there and it's like sloppily made together. I'm like, that's how all of them are going to look, really. That's a romanticized version of that product. They're not lying to you, it's just that what they've given you is roughly the same product. So it's like, yeah, like all the other stuff. It's great. um, oh yeah, I was getting to a point and I forgot my point a little bit, but so the happy medium, I think, is the truthful way. Because you can't really stop people from pre-ordering. You can't really do it. You can just tell them that they should wait, maybe for reviews, because that's really the smart move, I think. Because I'm definitely more on the don't pre-order side, because that is I think, the smart side. Because if you pre-order something just because it's in a series, yeah, no. Like for I say a lot, but yeah, and butts. I say butts and butts and They were trying to. There was that leak in The Last of Us 2, which I didn't see, by the way, because you have an option not to see the leaks. Because that's the thing about leaks, you don't have to look at them. People can spread them on the social media all you want, but you guess what? You just glance at it and you move on. Same thing happened with Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not. I just glanced at some of them because they're on the social media things, and people go boop, 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 spam, spam social media with it, especially Twitter. And so it's like I just glance at it and scroll down, scroll up or down. Just keep going. That's all it takes. I don't understand that. So because of the way they handled a lot of what happened in the leaks, that's you know trying to take down. It's like trying to silence people is not the best way to do it. No, I get it why they did it, but it's not. It's not good for PR. It's and then when and so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy this game. It's not going to happen. I am not pre-ordering your game. Okay? Like, oh, so maybe I'll rent it and show it off without paying for it. Because that's what renting really is. Or and then uh, when the reviews came out, and it turns out that people were review brigading and review bombing at the same time. And if you don't know what a review brigade is, a review brigade is pretty much like we're giving it 10s out of 10s because we're trying to inflate its score on like Metacritic, or like we're trying to make it better because we know some people won't like it, but we're going to keep it in the high 8s because of our 10. And they'll have people do that even though they know it's not a perfect game or a 10 out of 10 game. Even if you think it was and you left a 10, that's not the same thing. And review bombing is when you just want to send a message to somebody or a company and you put ones on ratings, like you give things low scores on purpose, the lowest score you can possibly have, and both are ethically bad, but it's sort of review brigading. I think seems a little more dishonest to me because you see the people who usually review brigade are usually sort of like gaming journalist probably, which gives me a bad name. But still, that's usually the people who do this or the people who have a certain agenda in mind, and this game proves their agenda, and they want to make sure that brigading brings it up. You know, especially if they see someone with a negative score or comment, and they'll say, "You just didn't appreciate this, so I'm going to give it the highest mark possible." And the people review bombing are usually the fans who feel like they got cheated. I'm not saying what they're doing is absolutely right, because really, it just makes you look bad when you try to bomb something. You know, bomb something. Duh. But I'm talking about like review bomb. You know, it just makes you look morally bad. And that could be a reason you don't want to pre-order it, because the company itself has been all over trying to censor or not letting people speak their minds about something, but letting other people speak their minds that just agree with you on certain political views or cultural views, or don't agree with their decision to how to make the game. You know that, uh, or anything like that. Like, let people make art the way it is, and if people don't buy it, then they don't buy it. The customer is the ultimate judge. Nobody's out there buying School Shooter unless they want it to be like, this is meme night, you know? Because, you know, here's the thing about bad video games or bad movies. In themselves, or it is, and it's talking how bad it is a good time. Like, people don't understand that. So, probably another reason people don't pre-order is that they want to wait for a review from probably a reviewer they trust. You know, same way people don't want to spend $13 a movie ticket to see a movie. I'm going to wait for a review from a reviewer that I trust. You know, that has valid points that I think, and then you have to make your own decisions based on the review that you saw and how much detail they put into that review. And especially if you see it repeated by reviewers you trust. And even reviewers you don't trust, you know, always look at the review score in the critic score and the public score. Usually the public score is a little more honest, because the critical score is always sort of, I mean, it's like they get a new person for each like sports release game, and it's like they didn't know what the past one was. I'm like, oh wow, this is really great. And then people on the other side are like, they've been doing this for like 10 years. Thanks, EA Sports. It's not in the game. We're going to transfer it later next time so we can act like we're adding modes. So, well, people are going to wait for reviews. It's actually the smart thing to do. Buy a game from... buying a game is a lot of money and a lot of invested time. You know? Unless it's like really cheap. Like, Fallout 76 turned free. And that was a $60 game when it came out. I'm like, it's kind of funny that I knew 76 was going to be a bomb. Because it looked like every other Fallout in Skyrim ever. By the way, Skyrim, overrated as crap. That game is not as great as people think it is. I mean, I should say the console version. But, you know, even I don't know, like, you have to make mods just to make it good. I think that you're doing a bad job making games. Sorry, I'm walking around. Helps me think. And, so, yeah, like, 76 looked the same. It's since Fallout 4, you know, I was like, hey, I asked somebody, you know, they love the Fallout series. I'm like, does Skyrim and Fallout like still break apart on the PS4? Yep. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I was watching somebody stream Skyrim, and it broke down twice while he was streaming. I'm like, this is like, a PC version of it, and it was still breaking down. I understand it's an open world game; those things happen, but this is why we have new engines. You need to update your game, serviceable to the people, and then like Todd was even said in I believe an interview, like he was saying like we're just gonna shovel this stuff in your face and people will eat it. I'm like, yeah, they will. And there are still people playing 76 today, I'm sure. But that game's dead. It was dead a week after it came out. And I'm not talking about player base. Dead. You know, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, relevant. I mean, it was probably the best example of a game that was tried to overhype its audience. And that's why you wait for reviews. Because of games like that, oh yeah, let's not forget Anthem. The most disappointing games to ever come out in the last century. You know, I mean, it's kind of funny. I never had to play it, but we all know. It's kind of funny we all know games. It's like, why would you buy Anthem? It's like, well, you gotta play it to know how bad it is. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm like, yeah, technically, but why would I do that when everybody on the planet that I know, not every, you know, literally, it's a hyperbole. But like everybody I know is like, no, don't play it. There are people who pre-ordered are like, this is dumb. And then when they patched it, it got better, and they realized they made a mistake in the patch, so they repatched it, and it ended up being bad again. I'm like, good job. Good job. It's so good. Let's see, what the... so, the reasons to pre-order? I mean, if you want it day one in your hands, I mean, there are reviewers who need it day one. They need those review codes and whatever. They need everything, every advantage they can to get the story out first. You know, like game journos or people who are online reviewers, YouTube reviewers especially. I know that Angry Joe used to do his pre-ordering through Amazon, and he always ended up like in a cache. I mean a queue. And it turns out that queue was a long list. So he never got his packages on time. And Amazon was like, we're not a video game service. We're a package handling service. Pre-ordering does not mean you're going to get it on the day it comes out. I was like, oh. I was like, well, shoot. That just means guaranteed that you have it. Technically, that's correct. You know. But, yeah, that's a bad look on Amazon. A little bit. So, I mean, like, if you really are a big fan of something and you know a game's coming out that you will probably love to death. I mean, if you're 98% or 100% sure it's going to be a game for you, pre-order that stuff. Do it. And if you want like the stuff that comes with it, that fancy stuff, yeah, go ahead and spend your money. It's your money. Use it when you need it, you know. Thanks, Becker Law Office. I mean, that's not Becker Law Office. That's a... what is that? 877 Cash Now? The guy? I forget his name. Oh well. So, so, you know, I can't because it's your money, you know. You want to spend on dumb crap? Like, I'm looking at an Estus flask. I spent $50 on an Estus flask. Who am I to tell somebody that they shouldn't, you know, pre-order? But I think it just makes more sense not to pre-order. It seems like I'm contradicting myself, but it's especially up to an individual. Like, I don't pre-order, but, you know, that's me. If someone wants to pre-order, they can do that. You can't tell them not to. Well, you can tell them, like, hey, you should probably wait for a review. I've heard some things, you know. I've heard some things about this game. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Stop it. Stop it right now. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like if, you know, of course, we'll debate about what's going on. Maybe they'll change their minds. Like, whew, like that's good. I like that. So, I like that argument. You know, they shouldn't be. Shouldn't exactly be pre-ordering like everything. But once in a while, I think it's cool. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I need to answer this text. Context. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, so, before I, what else can I talk about pre-orders for? Um, uh, why else would you want to pre-order? I still disagree that you should get a that you'd pre-order anything, really. I mean, unless it's like guaranteed, you can get your money back. Like I think Steam has that. I haven't been around Steam long enough. I don't know if I got a when I first bought my PS3, it went yellow, and that had the yellow light of death instead of the red ring. And I got a warranty for $100 for 3 years, I think. I think it was 2 years, and then the warranty wasn't up yet, so I was like, hey, I'm going to use that warranty. So I got a another like $300 console for free, and it came in them, and it was came to me through like a Kmart, which was awesome. But yeah, um, pre-ordering, huh? Pre-ordering. See, I'm not really. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can even pre-order digital editions, because that would be like, why? Unless you got a code and say, hey, we're gonna. Oh yeah, that's true. Amazon has like pre-order codes for like certain games. I know that you can download it. Then you have a voucher that you can use. That's interesting. I never thought about that. You could purchase something digitally and pre-order it. I don't know. I really don't know if that's a thing. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I just didn't think about it. It's just that until now. That I didn't think about that until now. Huh. Since nobody's here first, can't really say. You're welcome. Yeah, there was a food brought to the door. What was? Oh man, I don't know what else to talk about when talking about the pre-orders, because that's all I really know about pre-orders. No, I mean all I can think of. I'm sure I could think of something else, but there's no one here to bounce ideas off of, really. Um, like for example, they didn't used to call it pre-order, just call it layaway. They still kind of do that, but now it's just called, hey, you can pre-order it. Like, if you put something on layaway, they say, here, you can pick it up later. If it's in the store, it's on layaway. It's yours if you come and get it. It's pretty much the same thing. Not exactly, but yeah. I mean, like, I remember that, like, we used to have, like, you would get a Toys R Us catalog in the mail, and they'd be like, oh man, it was like 100 pages or so. At least I remember it being 100 pages, because as a kid you exaggerate. But it was big. It was called a Toys R Us, like, big book. The toy book, as we would call it. And they would have order numbers on everything, so that way you could make sure you have it. Man. So yeah, I never had this idea that I need a game right now. Like right now. I need it right now in my life. you know, there's a game coming out, I don't have to go, I need it right now. Like, nah. And I was kind of dumb to pre-order that thing anyway. up Arsenal. But whatever, I was there and it seemed like a good idea at the time. So yeah, I may jump back on, I guess, to do do other things. So yeah, just want to talk about pre-orders. If you have anything, believe it or not, if you have a story or anything like that, you can put it in the comments or contact me through the social medias, however you can, and say this is my pre-order story and da 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 do 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 do. So yeah, that is it for now, and I hope you listen to us a bunch of times in the background. You guys take care.